Yo, what's going on? So, the question is posed: who taught black people how to be NI, asses? Some people would say, well, our entertainers, such as our rappers, taught black people how to be asses. And the crazy thing behind that is, well, see, the thing of it is you have rap artists, that talk about negativity, sex, drugs, and violence, etc., right? But they don't have the marketing and advertising dollars to put their album out. They don't have the they don't have the money to fund their project. They don't have the money to create videos, to hire people to direct and film videos with women twerking and men selling drugs and having guns up in the air. They don't have that. They don't have the money to put their to pay, for their music to spin on radio stations. Well, you could say marketing and advertising dollars. That's included in that. So who has that? You understand? We're quick to blame the artists. We're quick to say, especially old people, man, that's all they, all these rappers do. That's all they do is rap about, sex, drugs, and violence. Ain't nothing positive and this and that and so forth. But guess what? They're signed to a record label. Who owns the record label? Who has the marketing and advertising dollars? Who funds these rappers, or rather entertainers? Straight up. Who controls the music industry? You see, you don't want to talk about the man or the woman behind the curtain. You don't want to talk about the puppeteers. You want to consistently bash and chastise the puppets. And they're only doing what they're being told to do. This is part of their job. Just like how you go to work. You know what I'm saying? And you have a boss. They have a boss as well. They have a contract that they have to be obligated to. And when a record label tells you to put out a song that talks about sex, drugs, and violence because that's what's selling, that's what you have to do. So I'm just trying to understand this, because oftentimes we blame black people for being NIGGAASs. And people that are non-black will say that that's how we were born. That's how we were raised. But they don't even realize that in our history, we weren't like that. It wasn't until, and I'm going there. You see, y'all like to let Mr. Pale Man off the hook. Mr. Melanin Recessive Man off the hook, which bothers me. Y'all know that he is not part of the solution, but part of the problem. Not even part of the problem. He damn near is 85% of the problem. But you don't want to address that because some of you all are scared and don't want to admit it. You don't want to admit it. But who taught us how to be NIGGAASs? Who taught us how to be deadbeat dads? Because the first time I recollect hearing about a deadbeat dad is when the slave master will go into slave quarters and have mulatto children and disown them. How you like that? Who taught us how to make soul food? Yeah, we taught ourselves how to make that shit, but the slave master threw the worst parts of the meat of the pig to us in order for us to eat. We've always had hand-me-downs. You see, the thing of it is that if that Caucasian man would have left us the fuck alone, and please don't go there with me with that, well, black people, so us all too. Oh, really? You think for a fact that Africans knew exactly what this man was going to do to us? For real. I'm not going to sit here and say that the Africans didn't play a part, but you left out the Sunni Muslims that still are wow, they still practicing the slave trade till this day. So everybody participated in it. But I'm asking you, who specifically taught us how to be NIGGASs? Real talk. Because I really don't believe in this whole Willie Lynch letter. I really don't. I don't think it was one man that created a letter and created this whole system and went from plantation to plantation to plantation to plantation. No. I don't think so. I don't think it was that. But I would believe that there were slave masters, slave owners that conspired. Against black folks. And they created this whole so-called Willie Lynch system, or letter, so to speak, to further enslave us. And this is what bugs me out. You all act like we weren't stripped from our culture. We wasn't stripped from our language or anything. We were kidnapped. We were never slaves, because in order to be slaves, what? You have to be Slavic. We're not Russian. And it just bugs me out that nobody wants to actually address the elephant in the room. And as we're not addressing the elephant in the room, guess what? They're slowly but surely erasing this wicked ass history called slavery out of our children's textbooks. So now in the state of Texas, they're teaching, as well as in Florida, if I'm not mistaken, they're teaching the kids nowadays that we were indentured servants. As if we weren't forced to work. And this is what bugs me out. Child labor laws? What about the child? What you got child labor laws now. But what about the child labor laws that they should have had during slavery? If these Me Too movement people can accuse you of that happened 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, then guess what? We need to put in, so we need to take the United States to court for the children that they had working on the fields, on the plantation. We need to take these slave masters to court for the several women that they R-word. I don't like using it. You know what I'm saying? YouTube doesn't either. That's the reason why I don't use it. But you know what I mean? Sexual assault, I'll put it that way. As well as the men. Who taught us how to be NIGGASs? You know they had sex plantations? Who taught us how to be promiscuous? You know, oftentimes, non-blacks will say, that we're hypersexual. Well, guess what? We didn't create the porn industry. You all did. You non-blacks. I'm just trying to understand this. Because see, at the end of the day, let me tell you something. I don't want to be around NIGGASs. I don't. And it's not my problem to fix it. It's yours. It's you non-blacks that created that mentality, that created that man and that woman that we see today that despises his or her own race. It's your problem. It's not ours. Colorism is your problem. You created that. Having the children turn against their parents, that's your problem. You created that. But oftentimes in the black community, we want to sit here and blame ourselves. And then when you hear someone such as myself talk about how Caucasians were and are, you want to say, man, that's all you do is blame the white man for stuff and da-da-da-da. It's his society. It's his so-called world that we're living in. So how is it that, but I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, well, you know, we're living in America and you got to just do what you got to do. You know, strap up your boots and tie them up. And you know what I'm saying? Slavery was a long time ago. This and that. So, okay, well, the Holocaust was a long time ago. 9/11 was a long time ago. I could go on with this. The Civil War was a long time ago. American history was a long time ago. And I said it in a couple of videos prior to this one. But we still, our children's children still have to learn American history. So there's some things that they want us to remember in history, or that what happened a long time ago, while there's others that they don't want us to remember, such as slavery, such as King Leopold, that killed over 3 million Congolese people. And then for the others, he chopped off their hands and he chopped off their limbs, chopped off their hands and their legs. I could go on with this. Or what about the several experiments? You know what I'm saying? The Tuskegee experiment, where they put syphilis inside, you know, the man. I could go on with this. What about that gynecologist that they praise, where he was experimenting on black women because he thought black women was resistant to pain? I could tell you who taught us how to be niggas. A nigga. Because only a nigga could teach another nigga how to be one. And we weren't the first ones. And I don't want to hear that niggas, it's N-E-G-U-S, da 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 da. You think Caucasians mean that? You think when Caucasians say N-I-G-G-A to one of us, you think that he knows that it's erroneously, he's saying it wrong, it's not nigga, it's niggas, and niggas means king? You think he's meaning that in a most positive and respectful way? No. Some of you all are too old to forget. In other words, what I'm saying, the pain is still there. They still have figurines of Sambos and shit. They still have Tom and Jerry cartoons that they show of black men and black women, Sambos, talking all, you know, that nigga old time talking. Well, eyes are gold and down the. And just admit it. It's our past is so painful. And I'm talking about the past that we don't want to talk about. We could talk about all the innovations and inventions that we created. We could talk about Mansa Musa being, you know, the most wealthiest on the planet. We could talk about how we built the pyramids and Timbuktu and Nubia, the Nubian Empire, and all the rest of that stuff. But we don't want to talk about the pain. But in order to get through the pain, you got to talk about it. And you got to tell your children, because this is not how black people act. There's a reason behind this. But we don't want to talk about it. So oftentimes what we do is we silence ourselves. I didn't even know, like, seriously, I just found out a couple years ago that homosexuality, I mean, of course it existed for, you know, prior to slavery, but it was homosexuality going on during slavery. That it was a thing where the slave master would take the slave out for being disobedient. He'll have everybody form a circle that all of the people that he knew and loved. He'll take the biggest of the biggest man. Might have disobeyed him, did something wrong or whatever have you. Or he was just what? Setting an example. He bent the man over, and sodomized them. And that term was called, at the time, bucking the slave. We don't want to hold the Caucasian man accountable for shit, and neither do we want to hold the woman either. Because not only were the man being sexually assaulted, but by the slave master, but the woman that was the slave master's wife was sexually assaulting the men as well. If you're gonna hold black people accountable for being niggas, then you better hold that non-black accountable for being one too. You'll always talk about baby daddies. You want to take your baby daddy to court and don't want to talk about who was the first one. Now, I'm not sitting here playing a blame game as if, you know what I'm saying, we charge everything to them. We make excuses and say it's all their fault. And then, you know, we can't do no wrong. No, it takes two to tango. So just because we were taught, and at one point in time forcibly taught, to be NIGGASs, that doesn't mean that we're supposed to be one. That regardless, if we call ourselves stern, strong black men and women, then it doesn't make a difference what we go through. We triumph all the time. So yeah, true indeed, we can blame him. We can say that he taught us, but ultimately, we have to take full responsibility for our actions. If we are these strong black men and women that came from Africa, or you know what I'm saying, for some of those that don't want to say you came from Africa that existed here. If we were the Moors, the Olmecians, the Egyptians or the Chemedians, the Nubians, if you were those people, then you got to hold yourself accountable for your actions and change your ways. But, you know, it seems as though that nowadays, black people just love being niggas now. That they embrace it to the point where, straight up, this is real, some of them have taken on being a nigga as a career. I don't even follow these two people. But yet and still, when I'm going through my feed on Instagram, they always pop up. That's Krayshawn and Blueface. Neither one of them are talented, at least in my opinion, but yet and still, that's all I see. And they're not known for their music, they're known for the fuckery, the coonery, buffoonery. In other words, being a nigga, the white world has commodified it. Commodified being a nigga. That there is financial gain and profit into being one. Excuse me. That a lot of black men and women nowadays just want to be an NIGGA. Not a lawyer, a doctor, a dentist, a judge. Nah, that's corny. You just want to be a plain old nigga. And there's enough space for that. But it's not enough space for people that talk like me. For real. And this is the reason why I know that my channel will never go but so far. Never. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that. And if I ever get to the point where I have 100,000 subscribers and a total of 5 million, 10 million views, you best believe I'm doing something wrong. That's how I gauge my channel nowadays. Low views, I'm doing something right. High views, I'm doing something wrong. Straight up. But you know, at the end of the day, I still gotta eat a little. You know what I'm saying? So I throw out some little bit of ignorant shit. You know, my Atlanta videos seem to do great. But when I'm talking about stuff that means something, such as this conversation that I'm having with you all now, please, little to no views. And it's crazy because my audience, they say, man, you need to stop doing Atlanta videos, Charlotte videos. You need to start talking about other things. You know what I'm saying? But the minute I step outside of the box that you all say that you don't want me to be in, but want me to be in, the views go down. See that? So you can't nowadays fully 100% blame the white man for you all being NIGGAs, because nowadays you all embrace it. If you're not acting like a nigga, you at least are being entertained by one.